Doctor Strange is one of the most powerful heroes in all of the Marvel universe and actually has one of the most classic styles of physiques in the comics. A physique that is very similar to Sean Connery's, who was the very first James Bond and actually a bodybuilder as well. If you're looking for more of that lean and ripped classic style of physique like Doctor Strange, here are my recommendations as a personal trainer for you to achieve this type of physique. So there are a couple of ways to approach this. We could do a classic style of workout from the 50s and 60s, or we could use a more modern day approach, which is probably more efficient. We're going to jump into this routine with a 3-day training split. Research shows that if you want to grow muscle, then training a specific group 2 to 3 times per week may be the best route to go. Yet Doctor Strange doesn't really have a lot of muscle, he's mostly just lean. So we need to focus less on hypertrophy and strength training and more on generalized fitness training and proper nutrition. Here's the split. For day 1, we'll do upper body training. For day 2, we'll do lower body training. And that 3rd day we'll use as kind of a full body day. For our upper body day, we'll focus on arms, shoulders, chest, back, and abs. We'll start with the compound exercises for our biggest muscle groups being our chest and back. Given that, we're going to start off with dumbbell bench press. When you're doing this exercise, make sure you have a full range of motion where the dumbbells are coming all the way down, you're feeling a super big stretch in the chest, and then all the way back up and in to feel a really tight squeeze. And we'll superset this exercise with pull-ups to hit your back and biceps. Now, there are a lot of different variations of pull-ups. I prefer the wide grip as it really targets more on the lats a little bit more. But for the purposes of this training routine, pick whichever one is your favorite and just stick with it. And whichever version you pick, make sure you're going all the way down, you're feeling a big stretch in your back, and then all the way up to where your chin is over the bar. Next, we're going to move into our dumbbell rows. Same thing here. We need to have a full range of motion. Really stretch out that arm and back at the very bottom of the lift, and then squeeze at the top. Then we'll move into some shoulders and arms with dumbbell curl to press. Some people call these Arnold's, but I like to go all the way down and get a full curl and then a full press. This is a great compound movement that hits your biceps, triceps, and shoulders. Now from here we'll go into flies. This can be performed with the pec deck machine, dumbbells, or even bands. Same thing here as on the dumbbell bench. You really want to stretch out that chest at the back and then get a really good squeeze at the front. And then we'll top off this day with weighted crunches to really hit the abs. Next up is our lower body day. Now, Doctor Strange and the guys of the early years of bodybuilding never really had the legs of modern day bodybuilders. However, it's still important to train them for overall symmetry and strength. We'll keep it simple by starting with goblet squats for the quads and glutes. Make sure you're going all the way down to where the femur is at least parallel to the ground. Then we'll do dumbbell RDLs for hamstrings, glutes, and lower back work. And really drive the hips back and let the dumbbells drag down the legs and then bring them back up as close to the body as you can. Next, we'll do leg extensions and leg curls for more quad and hamstring work. And we'll finish the training day with calf raises and lower ab work with some reverse crunches. For day 3, we'll actually take a combination of the first 2 days to keep it simple. We'll start with goblet squats and dumbbell RDLs. Then we'll move into dumbbell bench press and pull-ups. And we'll finish the day with dumbbell rows and dumbbell curl to press. This is a solid 3-day training split to hit all of the necessary muscles to have that classic and lean style of physique. And for all of these exercises, we'll stick with the classic set and rep scheme of 3 sets of 10. Oh, and by the way, this is a 5-week training program, so the first week should be your easier week. Think of it more as a technique style of week. Then weeks 2 to 4 should be increasingly more difficult with an intensity of 8 out of 10, then a 9 out of 10, and then a 10 out of 10 on that 4th or peak week. Use the last week, week 5, as a deload. And for your deload, perform about half the sets, reps, and weight as the previous week. After this, you can repeat this training routine or change it up a bit. So Doctor Strange has a decent amount of muscle mass, but to actually look like him, you're gonna have to be really lean too, and that's most properly done by cardio and nutrition. For cardio, you have 3 options. You can do high intensity interval training, slow steady state training like jogging or swimming, or you could just focus on daily steps. If you're not an athlete and care mostly about just looking the part while being healthier, then steps may be your best option. I recommend taking the daily average of your steps for the last 2 weeks and then just bumping it up by about 2,000 steps per day. For instance, if you're averaging about 4,000 steps per day, then bump it up to 6,000 steps. A great number to aim for in the long run is about 8 to 10,000 steps per day. Next up, we have nutrition. Remember, our primary objective with this plan isn't to bulk, it's to look lean with that classic style of physique. So calorie count, as with all diets, should be our primary focus, even more so than macros. Now, this part of the plan is actually tough to figure out as it really just depends on where you're at. If you're already super lean, then you probably just need to make sure you're getting enough protein in and you'll be good to go. If you're a bit overweight or just not quite as lean as Doctor Strange, then I recommend doing the same thing that you'll do with your steps, which is to track your typical daily intake for about 2 weeks, obtain an average, and then cut out about 500 or so calories per day. Feel free to play around with these numbers. You can drop a little bit more if you're not losing enough weight, i.e. about 1 to 2 pounds per week, or you could even add in more calories if you're losing too fast, which would be well over 2 pounds per week, because at that point you're probably not retaining as much muscle as you could, so you're not going to be as lean once you get down to that weight. Last note on nutrition, I mentioned to make sure you're getting enough protein throughout the day, but what does that actually look like? Well, for the average non-training person, the research shows that they probably only need about 0.36 times their body weight in number of grams of protein per day. However, since you're not the average non-training person and you'll probably want to keep your muscle and even add a bit more on, then the number bumps up to around 1 times your body weight in number of grams of protein per day. So given this, if you weigh somewhere around 175 pounds, then try to get about 175 grams of protein per day. And this isn't really a super strict number, but rather a great starting point. Do that and adjust your calories and your nutrition should be golden. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. Catch you next time.